So we start with paper 1, October 2023. We have the extract, which is down the data. Define the term risk. When we talk about risk, risks are action of businesses which may result into a loss. It is a risk because we've considered taking the action, we took the action, but the action might bring about a loss. That is why it is called a risk. Is it clear? Is it clear, please? Yeah. Go to question B. Explain one possible benefits to Fernando and Robert of using market mapping when starting their business. When we talk about market mapping, it simply means you use a virtual representation or visual representation of your position when you comparing your position with those of your competitors. So yeah, market mapping involves collecting data or using graph to visually plot the position of a business in relative to its competitors. That is what market mapping is about. So what do we use market mapping for? We use it to determine the position we have in the market. And market positioning is about customers' perception about the product, about our business. So what we do is we gather information about customer perspective, about our product, to know where customers rate us in the market. I think it's clear. So market mapping will lead to market positioning. Put that in mind, please. So what are the benefits of market mapping to Fernando and Robert? So the benefit of market mapping to Fernando and Robert is that it can allow them to spot opportunities in the market by visually organizing information about competitors. So when you use market mapping, it simply means you are gathering information about opportunities in the market, the gap. You are gathering information about the gap in the market. So gathering information about the gap in the market allows you to know what your competitors are missing. Then you seek the opportunity to produce it. So the ability to analyze the competition may allow Nando to create a unique selling point for their fast food. So understanding the gap in the market through market mapping allows you to fill in that gap by creating your own products that is different from those of your competitors. Do you understand the benefit of market mapping now? Go to 1C. Analyze two advantages to Nando's of treating its employees as an asset rather than a cost. So the first thing is, what does employee as an asset mean? Employee as an asset implies that there's recognition given to employees by employers, considering them as a valuable resource to the business. That is what employee as an asset is. Do you get it? Employers treat employees as a valuable resource to the business. So yeah, with employees as an asset implies to the recognition given to employees by their employers regarding the employees as a valuable resources. I think it's clear. What are the advantages of treating employees as an asset? 1, it reduces staff turnover. And how does it reduce staff turnover? According to the extract, Nando cars are valued and treated as family members, right? This is likely to increase staff loyalty and ensure that the employees will likely stay for a long period of time. So if they are staying for a long period of time, that means loyalty. So if they are going to stay for a long period of time, it reduces staff turnover. What is staff turnover? The number of workers that leave a company within a year. So that means if they are staying, it means they're not leaving the organization, and that even reduces the cost on recruitment for Nando. I think the first point is clear. Is it clear, please? Yes. The second one, it increases employees' motivation. If workers at Nando's are treated as assets, they are likely to be happy as a result increase their productivity, which may in turn improve customer services in the restaurants. I think the point is clear there. Now go to 1D. Are you there? Mm-hmm. They said, discuss the advantages to a business such as Nando's of using psychological pricing. What is psychological pricing? Psychological pricing involves setting the price below a round figure or a whole number, like 1.99 instead of 2. So here I go. Psychological pricing involves setting the price below a rounded figure. For example, charging 399 rupees for chicken naan instead of 400 rupees. You get the point? Yes. That's a cup of tea though. So the benefit of using psychological pricing are as follows. 1, consumers are conscious about price. So the first thing you think about is consumers. They are conscious when it comes to pricing. That's why the law of demand says the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. The lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. So because they are conscious about price, they might as well increase their consumption, which may in turn increase the sales of Nando's. So they are conscious and feeling that they're having a good value for that at that price might increase their consumption. That's the first one. Second one, psychological pricing might give Nando a competitive advantage over its competitors. If customers have to compare prices of other competitors, they may choose Nando ahead of its competitors. So with psychological pricing, people in India might start thinking about comparing prices And when they compare prices, they will see a round figure and a closer to round figure. They will choose a closer to round figure. So that might that might give Nando a competitive advantage over its competitors. I think the point is clear there. Yes. However, customers may think about other factors aside price when making decisions about where to purchase. For example, they may consider the quality of food in the other restaurants. So it's not just about price. It's not about psychological pricing. They might think about the quality of food. They might think about the services. They might think about the location. How close is the place to them? So these are things that you might think about. I think it's clear. Okay, so we'll go to question 1E, right? Okay. It said Nando collected market research data in China using random sampling. Assess the likely disadvantages to Nando's of using the random sampling. First, what is random sampling? A random sample gives equal opportunity to be chosen in the population. That means everyone has equal chance to be chosen in that population. That is why it is random. So the following are the likely setbacks using random sampling. Number one, it may not represent the whole restaurant personnel in China, as random sampling is designed to represent a demographic, a specific group. So that means it cannot be generalized. That's the first problem about or setback about random sampling. The second one, it may be costly as it will take a long period of time to gather information over a large geographical location such as China. China is a large area. How do you gather information? It cannot take time. And when it takes time, it costs money. The third one, gathering data may be difficult as random sampling involves having a full list of entire population of chefs in the food industry or experts in the food industry. So now you want to use a random sample. We said the random sampling give everyone equal opportunity, right? So if everyone needs to have equal opportunity, it means we need to have the full list to use. So, and that will take time. Yes or no? Yes. Great. However, with the help of technological advancement, random sampling might be easier to create because with technology, things become better and faster. So that random sampling that we think is a problem might be a solution. I think it's clear. So go to question 2. Are you there? Yes. Question 2A said, define the term marketing objective. When we talk about marketing objective, we're talking about the aim of a business, what the business is aiming at, and what activity it needs to do to achieve that business or that marketing objective. I think it's clear. So yeah, marketing objective is the aim of a business, which it wants to achieve through marketing activities. I think it's clear. So go to question B. A retailer selling Puka tea decreased the price of a packet of tea from 10 to 8. Sales increased from 2,500 packets to 3,000 packets per week. Calculate the price elasticity of demand for the packets of tea. You are advised to show your working. So when you talk about price elasticity of demand, it is the degree of responsiveness between the quantity demanded of a product as a result of a change in price. So PED is PED equals to Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 divided by P2 minus P1 over P1. So we have our Q1 to be 2,500, Q2 to be 3,500. We have our P1 to be $10 and P2 $8. So we have PED equals Q2 minus Q1, 3,500 minus 2,500 over 2,500 divided by P2, 8 minus 10 over 10. So we have our P to be 1,000 here, 1,000 over 2,500 multiplied by reciprocal, so multiplied by 10 over minus 2. So cancels this. 5 here, 2. 5 here, 5. 5 here, 1. 5 here, 2. 2 has cancelled this. I have minus 2. I think it's clear. Yes. Great. So go to question C. Analyze 2 factors other than price that may have caused an increase in the demand for Puka tea. So other factors that could be, other non-pricing factors are 1, availability of substitutes, prices of competitors, level of income, quality of the product. These are factors other than price that might determine, that might bring about an increase in the quantity demanded of a product, not only poker. So an increase in demand may be as a result of one, level of income or changes in taste and preferences. So firstly, you have to define demand. What is demand? The quantity of goods consumers are willing to buy at a given price and time. So the first factor that may increase the demand for poker tea is the level of income. So an increase in the level of income may indicate that more people will be able to afford more tea, especially specialty tea. So the second factor is changes in taste. Poker may be able to sell products that are in line with the changes in consumption. As a result, it may witness an increase in sales. Poker might produce tea that go in line with the social trend. So as a result of that, it increases its sales. I think the point is clear. So go to question D. Discuss the barriers to entrepreneurship Sebastian may have faced when thinking of starting a business. We talk about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not the same as entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is an individual, but when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's the act. So entrepreneurship is the act of setting up a business with the aim of making profit. I think it's clear now. Great. So the following are the barriers Sebastian may face when considering starting a business. One, lack of finance. So it may be possible that Sebastian doesn't have access to finance, and this may result into delaying the business startup. Lack of skills. Sebastian may not have the required business skills to set up the business. It's written even in the case study there. So, however, Tim and Sebastian formed a partnership, which may have solved the problem of finance as they were able to start up the business. So that means they are able to put money together. So the problem of lack of finance or access to finance will be solved. That's the first point. Then also, because we talked about lack of finance and lack of skills, right? Business skills. So the second problem is lack of business skills. Here I wrote. Also, Sebastian was able to cover for the lack of business skills as Tim had worked as a business consultant, which means he is likely to possess the needed knowledge for the business. Yeah. So that's how we solve the problem. So go to question E. Are you there? Yes. Assess the challenges that a business such as poker may have faced when moving from a niche to a mass marketing strategy. So when we talk about a niche market is a market for a specific group of customers, right? Then for mass market, we're talking about a market that is mass appealing. It's highly competitive. So poker may face the following setbacks while moving from a niche market to a mass market. One, increasing competition. So when you move from a niche market to a mass market, now you are in a market that is highly competitive. So here I wrote, increasing competition. The mass market is highly competitive. This means poker may have to lower its prices to be able to compete in that market, in the tea market. Two, changing from a niche market to mass market means poker will need all distribution channels to reach large audiences. Because a mass market is mass appealing. So it means you have to use all channels of distribution to ensure that your product reach the customers. So this means it has to change its distribution market. That means it has to change its distribution channel. And changing it might take time because you need to find the right distribution channel. And when it takes time, it is expensive. However, selling in the mass market allows poker to increase its scale of operation, which may in turn allow it to exploit economies of scale. When you sell in the mass market, you are selling to large numbers of customers. It's expected that your cost of production reduces. That is economies of scale. So selling in the mass market will allow poker to exploit economies of scale. Also, with the specialty tea market expected to grow up to 50 billion by 2027, this will provide poker an opportunity to increase revenue and profits. I think the point is clear. So go to the last one, which is question 3. It said, evaluate whether on-the-job training is likely to be most effective type of training used by Walt Disney. First, you have to define on-the-job training and off-the-job training anyway. So when you talk about on-the-job training is a training that is carried out within the premises of the organization, and it is carried out by the most experienced employees. Great. Then for off-the-job training, we're talking about training that is carried out from outside of the organization by specialist firms. I think the 2 points are clear there. Great. So Walt Disney is considered as a global brand. Based on the case study, is considered as a global brand, which means its employees are likely to be talented professionals in the entertainment and tourism industry or markets. So using on-the-job training might be ideal as the experts in the company will be involved in the training. Walt Disney is a global brand. So being a global brand means you would have employed experts across the world. So that means those that are going to carry out the training without being experts. So using on-the-job training is ideal at that point in time. I think the point is clear there. So using on-the-job training might be, okay, I said that. On-the-job training is less expensive as it will be carried out at the hotel restaurants. So you don't have to spend so much there. This will likely reduce the cost and increase competitiveness. Another point about using on-the-job training is that it can be easily organized, which means it's not going to take time. Unlike off-the-job training, which you have to make an appointment and the specialist firm have to give you their own comfortable time. Do you get the point there? So on-the-job training allows training to carry on with their daily jobs, which means service to the client will be maintained. So they will be able to still work because it's on the job. They are still at workplace. However, if the trainers are inefficient or poor at carrying out their function, they may pass their habits to the trainee. You know who the trainee are? Those that are being trained. And the trainer are the ones training them, okay? So if they are poor or they are inefficient, it means they will pass on that bad habit to the new trainees. Do you get the point here? So this may bring about Walt Disney putting into consideration of the job training. Do you see how I put off the job now? Okay. So using off the job training means trainees will focus on their training without job disruption. They will focus, yes or no? Off the job training will be carried out by specialist firms, which simply means it might improve the quality of the trainings. I think it's clear. So if you need to talk about the problem about off the job training, it is quite expensive. And if it is expensive, that means what Disney might incur more cost, and that might make it not to be internationally competitive. So that ends paper 1 of October of what? Is it May? Yes. October 2023.